And yeah, we're live. Hello to everybody who is watching us
Hi.
right now. We are very sorry for the delay. My computer, as always, got some issues. So I'm Karen Lynn. I'm a cosplayer from Israel. And today I'm going to talk with the most amazing cosplayer, Kamui, and her lovely husband, Benny. Hi.
Hi guys. Hi.
So those of you who don't know, this is Cosplay Talk, and this is part of the Israeli cosplay community initiative to bring the Israeli cosplay community to World Cosplay Summit. So if you don't have never heard about us, there's a link on the side or this side if you're in Hangout, I don't know. That is for our page. Please be sure to check us out. The Israeli cosplayers are pretty cool. So let's go over to Kamui and Benny. Introduce yourself, guys.
Yeah, we're from Germany. I'm cosplaying since 2003, and yeah, over the time I became very focused in armor and prop making. I started sharing tutorials online to help people. Last year I also become self-employed and made cosplay into my profession. So so far I wrote 3 books about how to make armor and props and how to paint them. We are luckily pretty successful for that. So Benny helps me a lot with that stuff, and basically cosplay is for us yeah, our profession and how we make our living. And yeah.
I also canceled my job this year because before I was working in advertising, but doing costumes is way more fun. And since we're able to actually make a living from it, it was like a no-brain decision to just quit the job. And now I'm helping her, like doing layouts for the books, painting her costumes, and sending shipments and all that stuff. So we're an efficient team, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Benny's efficient. I'm playing World of Warcraft right now.
Yeah, more like slavery.
Work, Benny.
Shots fired.
Okay, so just because Kamui did not say it, her name is Svetlana. I might call her Svetlana during this interview, so I'm referring to Kamui, just if you don't know. And just to start off this interview, we already have one question that I think a lot of people likes to know. What is your favorite type of gummy bear?
My favorite, it's like, do we have it here right now?
I will get it.
Benny will get it. It's like, it's actually not Haribo like everybody else have it, but it's from Katjes. It's a German brand, which is called Grünohrhasen, translated into green ear rabbit. It's like, these here, these are the best. The best.
What does it taste like? Does it taste like heaven?
It's, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's very soft, very sweet,
it actually
very
tastes
gorgeous.
like clouds because it's really soft and squishy, and it flows over your tongue.
Okay, then now you must bring it to me when I see you again. I want to taste this.
Yeah, they look like that.
Okay.
It's tiny bunny.
Oh, tiny bunny.
Tiny bunny. Now I want tiny bunny. Okay.
I'm glad we're starting with the costume questions. Because
yes, let's start with the costume questions and not the gummy bears, even though this is more important than cosplay. Who cares about cosplay? Gummy bears is better. Okay. So I would like to know, what was your first cosplay? How did you get into this at the beginning? What's the reason you got into this, and what was your first cosplay?
Yeah, it was 2003, and at this time I read magazines about anime and manga, and I actually also reported about conventions, international conventions. And I also found some German conventions, and German conventions, actually 80% of all attendees came in costume. So I also finally wanted to visit one of these conventions, and for me, because so many people cosplay there, it was like a must-have to wear a costume. So I picked one of my favorite characters at this time, and actually also still today, who is the Great Saiyaman from Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I got the old sewing machine of my grandpa, and it actually tears apart the threads every 20 centimeters. It was a nightmare to work with that, and I also had very shiny, cheap fabric for the costume, and the costume was really bad and not good. But it's okay. It was. I mean, we had fun and everything, and I mean. The only thing was I didn't really find a passion for that. It's like I dressed up because everybody else was in costume, and I tried it several times, but I really didn't find, it wasn't really exciting for me.
It's like dressing up for Halloween.
Yeah, it was like
only doing it because like
everybody else do it. Yeah, and then I started playing World of Warcraft, and then it was over.
Your eyes are opened, and a new world was discovered.
Yeah, it was really crazy. And I mean, I had also a friend at this time, Selena, who was my cosplay partner, and she also played the same class and race like me. And so we started making our very first costumes together, which was the same class and race, Night Elf Druid. And now I have 5 or 6 Night Elf Druid costumes and much more from Blizzard and World of Warcraft and Diablo. Yeah, so this was basically the reason for this whole cosplay thing.
That's the root of all evil.
Yeah.
And did you two knew each other before you started cosplaying, or did you knew each other because of this community and throughout this process or something?
We were actually going to the same school at that time. I was, I think, one class higher than you.
Yeah.
And I, at that time, was helping like a local really bad con organizing for like anime and manga conventions, and I was like writing around messengers.
Yeah.
And I think it was like on one of those events we first met, and then we talked in school afterwards. That's probably the point when she started stalking me.
Yeah, I totally started stalking her. It's like, okay, I need a boyfriend, and he looks good. Okay, I will.
I can totally see you as a stalker, by the way. You're an absolute stalker.
Yeah, and I had long vampire hair at that time.
Yeah. Well, and then we married.
Poof, marriage.
Yeah. Benny was my very first boyfriend. Everything. Yeah, I was his first one. So yeah.
Oh,
romantic love with a stalker.
It's like one of those bad headlines you read on the newspapers, like, she married her stalker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a romance story, yeah.
Okay. And Benny, I know you also did some cosplay with Svetlana, though not for a while now. How did she convince you to do this? What does it take to convince the husband or the boyfriend in that time?
For years, I think like 7 or 8 years, I only went to conventions like in whatever I'm wearing at that day, and only took a camera with me just to help her with stuff. And she was always complaining like, I'm so hot and sweaty, it's so uncomfortable. I don't want to wear costumes. And then I'm like, oh, come on, don't act like it. And then she like went way out of her way to prove her point, making a costume for me, like spent weeks working on it. And I took it on BlizzCon, I think 3 years ago, and I lasted 3 hours until I had to get it off again.
You're weak, Benny. You're not a true cosplayer.
Yeah, he got like body painting and a corset and armor and a wig and warm stuff and like the whole program.
Yeah.
And
I looked like a very beautiful female night elf.
I remember this cosplay. I love this cosplay of you too. I think this is the cosplay that I discovered you through. I saw it on 4chan at that time, and this is how I discovered you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like for the first costume I was wearing, she picked like the most uncomfortable thing you could ever like find.
Yeah.
Like, how do you like it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And do you think that in the future, Benny, you'll cosplay again, or I mean, I know you guys did the Doctor and Donna, but
that was this year. It was a little bit more comfortable because it was just a suit. It's still hot, and I don't really like it. But we have more time now, so the next thing will come eventually.
I'm excited to see what it's gonna be like. You're gonna be even a prettier elf.
No, I hope not.
I'm sure Svetlana is gonna make sure you will. So
Yeah, we will see. We will see.
okay. So I know Benny, you are the painter, and you obviously are amazing in it. How did you get to this technique of painting in this specific way? Like, what? How?
In that specific way, I don't know. I studied design like in school and for university, so it was always more like of a layout thing. But I always liked to draw and to paint, and like sometime we even tried to do like a comic together, like a competition and stuff like that. So I don't know, painting and drawing was always natural for me. But that specific technique, it just, I don't know, developed over time. I just tried to make it look good, and then she was always coming to me and saying, "You always take so long. Can't you like make a plan and like do it properly?" And so she kind of forced me to find a way to actually make like a technique out of it. So not like just try to get it right every time, but to do it with like the proper way. So that's why I like try to like find a way to
Be efficient.
Be efficient, like a German. You have to be efficient.
Oh yeah, totally.
Law.
And Svetlana, in the beginning, as I think a lot of people know, Benny was the one painting your cosplay, but after a while, you started learning this technique. How did you started learning it, and what was the difficult parts about learning this technique?
Yeah, the main reason why I started was like, Benny was like, "Let me alone, I don't want to pay you for anymore." And I was like, okay. And
yeah, I was still working a day job at the time.
Yeah, and I totally didn't got why he didn't have the whole day for me time. So it's like, okay, I will paint it somehow. But I mean, this technique is not really complicated. It's like, you just dab the whole time on your armor, and that's pretty much all. And I'm not really that good in painting, so I try to cover all my mistakes and everything with blood and dirt and everything, so it looks like better. And yeah, but that was pretty much all. And then, I mean, when I didn't have time, basically because I rushed my costume that much, I just asked him for assistant, or I did it by myself when I had time. And then when he canceled the job, it was like, okay, I have to finish all my costumes in only 1 week. And so it was just natural that he started doing all my paint jobs then.
Yeah, and it's like, it can be tiring coming home from like a 9 to 10-hour workday, and then at home it's like, I built 5 new pieces. Here you go.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. So here you go, new cosplayers. Those are the tips for you. Get a husband, make him to paint, and if he doesn't, cover everything with blood and dirt.
Yeah.
Stalking is totally okay.
Stalking is okay to achieve your goals.
Don't stalk cosplayers or people. It's me. Okay, next topic. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna ask what's your favorite part about making cosplays, because it's obviously armors and weapons. But in the armors and weapons area, what's your favorite one to do? Like breastplates, gauntlets, or stuff?
Gesundheit. Yeah, I prefer to make props. It's like, I mean, all my armors are pretty similar, since I don't have that much time to really do something very different or experiment a lot. But when it comes to props, it's like, it's mostly every time it's a very new design, and I have to experiment a lot and figure out new ways, and that's something which is really exciting for me. And yeah, I also like to adjust light, LEDs and stuff. It's really cool. And also, I think the problem to figure out how to bring a costume to a convention is also something which is pretty challenging and always really interesting to solve.
Okay, and for you, Benny, is there a thing or a part that you most enjoy painting?
I totally like painting breastplates. It's awesome.
Dab the boobs. Dab the boobs.
Dab the boobs. It's like, touch my boobs and paint them. Okay.
Definitely.
And I can always like point here, so I painted this like this area, and everybody has to look, and she can feel uncomfortable.
I don't feel uncomfortable.
Next time, just do 2 arrows or eyes, and
Yeah.
that's it.
My
Perfect.
eyes are down here.
Okay. And to this day, what is your favorite cosplay that you made?
My favorite costume, I mean, I really like the Barbarian, and because it's so comfortable. My Ritual 6 was the one I wore the very first time in the States, and I really like the design. Yeah, my Protos Wizard I'm very proud of, since it took me 2 years to make, and I really like the last Wizard I made, which is my last current costume.
The latest costume.
The latest. It's like shiny. Yeah.
Shiny. Okay. What? Okay, no. In all the costumes that you made, and you definitely made a lot, you usually choose to go with armor and try to avoid sewing. Why? I mean, I do know that you like armors a lot more, but what made you choose specifically the armor way?
My sewing machine. It's like my sewing machine. Yeah, really. I mean, like I said, when I started with cosplay, I had a very bad sewing machine, and then I thought, okay, it's maybe time to buy a proper one. And this one was only a little bit less bad. So it's like every time I finished the whole crafting stuff and the whole armor and props and everything, I still had to sew some very tiny parts. And my sewing machine actively sabotaged me at this point that even the whole costume was done. I was not sure if I'm able to finish the whole, very cheap attachments and just some black bodysuit stuff. Even this, my sewing machine didn't want to let me sew. And yeah, so basically I tried to avoid sewing as much as possible, and then just years later I got this really genius idea maybe to get a proper sewing machine, which I got now. So my next 2 costumes will be only sewing and no armor.
Wow. Okay, that's a new thing we're gonna see from you.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. Can you tell us what is one of them?
One is from Bravely Default. It's the Red Mage, and I was at BlizzCon. I was in LA fabric shopping like crazy, spending all the money on pretty silk, shiny stuff, all the money. And yeah, and also something else I want to make already for years, but never, always was scared of that because it has a lot of sewing in it. So yeah, I think I'm ready.
Awesome. I cannot wait to see that. That's going to be really exciting. Okay. Now, everybody knows, you do use Worbla, which is the main material that you use. How did you find out about this specific material? Like, before that, you use Wonderflex?
Yeah.
How did you discover Wonderflex and then Worbla?
It's like... When I worked with Worbla, it was still not really available in Europe, and
I mean Wonderflex.
Wonderflex. It was not really available in Europe, and I basically had to import it the whole time from the States, which took a lot of time, and I also had to pay a lot for shipping and taxes and customs and everything. And then actually, this new material Worbla popped out, and I just discovered it's pretty much the same as Wonderflex, just in Germany. So I can buy it directly and have it the next day. So I tried it out, and it worked greatly, and it also gave me some new opportunities to work with it. So yeah, that's pretty much all.
Or did you discover it by searching, or did the guy who wrote you?
Yeah, somebody contacted me. He was the manufacturer of Worbla, and I think he did some promotion and asked me if I want to try this out. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, why not? So yeah.
Well, lucky you. And how did you discover the Wonderflex?
It's like, oh God.
4chan?
No. I would say desperation, really pure desperation. It's like, oh, I wanted to make my very first armor, really very first armor, which was my biggest armor, which I made so far, which is the Asmodean from Ion. And at this time, there were no tutorials, there were no progress pictures, nothing. And somewhere on Cosplay.com, I found in a forum people who said, oh yeah, I made my armor out of Wonderflex. That, where do I go?
Just continue.
Yeah, and they said they made it out of Wonderflex, and this was all the information I found. This was really everything.
So we saw like, okay, so you can make armor out of this stuff.
Yeah,
so
but no idea how or
it.
why, for what you needed. But it was really the only material which was available. The only material I was able to find, because at this time really there were no resources on anything, no tutorials, nothing, and I just ordered it and actually paid only for shipping $200 only for shipping. So at the end I paid double as much as the normal price for shipping in Texas. So while the sheet was $40, I paid $80 for that. Whereas because it was from the States, and yeah, it worked out. And luckily, because otherwise I had to ship it back, which wouldn't be the best option with all the shipping costs. And yeah, that was pretty much all. And then people actually started asking me how I made it or what kind of material it is, because also all these people were not able to find any tutorials. And then I started making all these tutorials to, you know, to answer all the questions I got after that.
Okay. And a lot of people don't have access to Warbler, or it's just out of their price range, and many of them are looking for cheaper alternatives. Do you have any suggestions?
Oh, totally. It's like so many people make stuff out of EVA foam, which is really great. Or they also work with craft foam and everything. The only thing, oh, Sintra, yeah, also stuff like that. It's like the only thing you basically pay for Warbler, you pay extra. It's like the easy way to work with it, because for Warbler you find a ton of tutorials. It's very easy to work with it. It's very verzeiht,
it's sturdy and forgiving.
It's sturdy, it's forgiving. If you make any mistakes, then you can get rid of them pretty easy, which you can't do with other materials.
Yeah, but it is kind of similar to EVA foam, because it's also easy to work with. The main difference, I think, is that Warbler is way more sturdy. So you can like throw your stuff against the wall and nothing happens. But if you do that with like an EVA foam armor, it will crack and break.
No, it won't crack as much. It's just that it's not plastic, it's foam, so it is flexible and it's
squishy. You can seal it, but you can still bend it easily, so you need to be way more careful in transporting your stuff.
And for example, my Barbarian now is already 3 years old. I usually wore it around 40 times, something like that, and the costume still looks like new, despite of I fly with it the whole time, and you know, the stuff at the airport plays football with my suitcases, and everything is still fine. And I don't think that this would be possible with EVA foam, or at least if you have 3 costumes into the suitcase, and you know. So it's like
definitely
quality, but they're surely much cheaper and easier. Or, you know,
if you just want to do a cool armor, you can just buy EVA foam mats and go crazy. So there's nothing stopping you.
Okay, that's nice. I hope it answered. I got a few questions for this topic. I hope it does answer for the people who have asked. Now, you do get to invited to a lot of conventions recently. How is it like being a guest there? What is the perks and what is the downsides of being a guest?
Actually, I don't get invited that much. I mean, also even if I get invited, I often have to pay my flight and everything, stuff like that. Or you just go to conventions, you know, just for fun. But if you're invited, it's like as a guest. It's not like you just hang out with your friends and, you know, have a good time. But if you're invited as a guest, you usually basically work for the convention. So you have to run panels, several panels, or you have to judge a costume contest the whole day, or at some other days you have interviews or stuff like that. And you basically are pretty busy. When I'm invited as a guest to conventions, I'm always very sorry for my friends because I'm not able to hang out with them, and always just say, I'm so sorry, I really hope we have time after the conventions. But it's always very stressful and it's a lot of work. I mean, it's really amazing, and it's such a great opportunity to be a part of all these amazing events, and also actually my personal highlight to run panels there is, to help people there to meet all these amazing talented people and cosplayers and everything. But it's like it's work, and you shouldn't forget that.
Okay, and you did mention judging a costume contest. How is it like when you judge a cosplay, either if it's craftsmanship or masquerade? What do you look at most?
When I judge a costume contest, I'm mostly just a part of, the whole jury. So when I'm a judge there, I'm mostly I'm there for the armor and the props. It's like I'm the specialist for the armor and props. So I try to focus more on the crafting aspect, and while others are more responsible for sewing, just because they have much more skills and experience in that, and are able to judge it better than I do. And it's not that easy, especially right now. There are so many great cosplay beginners who are just, they are very passionate, and they know that they can basically every technique they need online, and they can learn everything just via internet. So there are many people who made their very first costume, and it's like a crazy amazing armor, or they have amazing props, or it's a great dress or whatever. And I mean, how do you judge that, especially if there are 30 entrants like that? So it's often pretty complicated, but it's always very exciting to see all the amazing participants there.
And Benny, what do you do while she judges or do panels?
I think that's the only time when I actually get to walk around the con and look at stuff. It's like when she doesn't need me for like keeping watch over the table or the books or anything. Or I just sit behind her and like try to, I don't know, cheer her up, like, yay, go judging and stuff.
Yay, go German. Okay. What do you think is next for you? I mean, currently you are a professional cosplayer, as it said, like this is your job. Do you think, how long do you see yourself staying in this, doing this?
I don't know. I think, the thing is, we're not making money by making costumes. That's not our job. We're making a living by helping other people get better in making costumes. And I don't know, as long as people need help to find new ways to make stuff, and we can help them, then that's, I think, the way we're aiming for. Because that's what we like to do ourselves. It's like finding out new materials to work with and finding out new techniques. Like when we come back from our vacation in December, she will start working on her LED book. So we will have to work through a lot of Arduinos and electricity currents and voltage and
you have
all
no
that
idea
stuff.
what you're talking about, right?
I'm just throwing out like random words. She tells me all the time, but I mean, for us, it's like the exciting thing is the stuff we tell about in our books is basically not really anything new. It's just that how do you say it? That concentrated, so it's easier for beginners to understand. It's like you can buy a book on electricity right now, but it would be so complicated that you would have a hard time like understanding anything for like cosplay purposes. So what we're doing is like trying to bring it down to like an understandable level.
No, the main job is just we have to take the fear of people. That's the main thing, because people are they are scared even to start with that, and it's for us it's important to catch their interest and to show them, hey, you can start. And when we got their very first attention, this tiny little blink that they stayed there and keep watching, then we got them. And that's the really important thing. You have to basically to get every single time with every tutorial, with every book, and everything we create.
So people need to see when they get the new book that like doing lights for your costumes is super easy, and hopefully next year like everybody will have LEDs in there.
Yeah, that will be so much fun to judge everything.
What will be next? What will be next? Oh my god. You know what? What do you think will be next after? Now you had a book about LED. Now you will have a book about LEDs and armor and props and painting. What do you think will be next for you? Like, what is the next topic you're gonna tackle?
I have no idea. I would like to get more into sculpting and, mold making and maybe prosthetic stuff like that. I think also animatronics is also something very interesting. Or, casting, I have no idea. I think 3D printers are very interesting, or laser cutters, stuff like that.
I know, there are like new materials and techniques popping up every day. It's like the main goal is to get like virtual items like World of Warcraft weapons, like finding new ways to make it as real as possible, to get it like in your own home, in your own room, so you can defend yourself when the zombie apocalypse comes. But,
zombie apocalypse! Yeah.
Like, 3D printers get really cheap all of a sudden, and everybody can start using them. Then that's like a new market to like get one and try out like what's it good for and what you can do with it, and like finding new ways to work with it.
Definitely, 3D printers are starting to catch up, and if you're watching and you're interested in hearing more about 3D printers, we will have a conversation with 2 cosplayers that are working in 3D printing. So keep watching, and you'll get more information in the future. Okay, what is your dream cosplay? Dream of them all.
Bumblebee from Transformers. Like, I already searched for how to make it, what materials I need, and how to construct it. Like, I'm totally prepared, but I have no idea how to transport it.
Oh, transporting. I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah, right. It's like I'm stuck in Germany, and I already built my Crusader, who I think will never leave my house.
But you want to build like Bumblebee perfect, right?
Yeah.
So you can just drive to the convention.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, so Bumblebee would be pretty cool, but I think I will never ever do it, and yeah.
Yeah, much. Okay, I'm gonna move to some questions that we got from random people in the audience. Woo! And if you're watching us right now, you can still post any question you might have for Svetlana and Benny, either down in the Hangout or in our YouTube. You can also send us an email or a message if you're an Israeli cosplay and you have the World Cosplay Summit Israeli page. We will try to get as many questions as possible answered, and if not, always. Svetlana loves personal messages on her page.
I never
send her.
I
so many.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Let's go on to the first question. Who was the one that? Who is the cosplayer that you currently look up to the most, or have always looked up to? Like, who are your cosplay senpais?
When I started with cosplay, I had no idea about Facebook. I was not on cosplay.com. I didn't speak English.
Yeah, when you started cosplaying, there was no Facebook.
I was not a part of the cosplay community, and it took me a pretty long time to get into it. And so it was like I was never influenced by anybody. I never looked up to anybody because I just didn't speak English. And this also didn't really change over the time, because it's like, I don't know, there was never anybody who helped me, because I was always the one who made the tutorials, and I was so so bad in my English that I didn't understand anybody who could even help me. But I mean, there are people I really look up to. It's like Volpin Props is a really amazing prop maker, or Bill Duran from Punish Props. Also, Yaya Han is also a really good friend of me, and she's also a very inspiring and lovely person. But I don't really look up to anybody. I don't know.
It's like everybody has like has a specialty in like a different field. Like the way Harrison from Walpin Props creates props. He like if he like sets his mind to it, he will work for like 7 months straight on like a space gun, but it will look like perfect at the end.
Yeah.
But the little amount of time Yaya can spend on like a surgery, she can just like pop out like an awesome dress in like a couple of hours, and that's amazing as well. So it's like you can't compare like apples to oranges, but it's like there are a lot of really talented people out there.
Yeah, but I honestly I don't really see all these persons, no matter how skilled or experienced they are, as something special from the beginners. I see the whole as a cosplay community. It's like a big group of people who are very talented and
they're
very
just
artistic.
more experienced.
They are just more experienced, and I don't know. I also, for me, it's still pretty weird when people say they look up to me, or they are a fan of my work or anything, because it's like I'm not better than you or anything. I just do the same stuff as you, and so for me, I also don't look up to anybody, and also don't expect that anybody looks up to me. So
I don't know. I think it's a German thing.
Yeah.
It is. It's a very German thing. I can absolutely understand where is it coming from. Okay, but that's a nice answer, and I hope it answered somebody's question. What do you think is the toughest cosplay you've done to this day?
The Protoss Wizard. The Protoss Wizard. It was like, I worked 2 years on that costume with planning and construction. It was also my biggest LED project, where I had to learn a lot of new techniques, mainly because my English is so bad and I was not understand everything properly. And when I wore the costume, I wore a wig which had 3 or 4 pounds on my head, and tried to drag the skin from my head down, which was kind of painful, just kind of. And yeah, it was a very exhausting costume, but I won the Blizzard costume contest with it this last year. So, yeah.
How many hours did we take to dress you up in the morning?
Yeah, it took me 4 hours to dress up in the costume.
4, because she had like 8 different plugs on her back for like the electricity. So it's like connecting to a central spine at the back of her.
It was not like you just put a switch on, but you had to rewire the circuit and everything, and plug everything together, then test everything, adjust the wigs with around 40 bobby pins. And
make sure you have your staff charged by using
cable. Charge the staff and everything, drink a ton of energy drinks because I was not able to drink or eat anything. And yeah, I tried to survive the whole day in the costume.
So who needs to drink? Drink is for weak people.
Yeah.
Okay, so it also kind of answered the question of what was the longest cosplay you ever, like the longest process you ever had on a costume. I think I did not pronounce this correctly. What is the longest time you ever worked on a costume?
Yeah, the Protoss was up.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's also pretty much answered this. No.
Yeah, 2 years.
Not straight, like with breaks in the middle, and
because I was so frustrated on a project.
Yeah, she did like, I think your skirt, you did like 3
I
or 4
redid
times.
several things, and it was at some point it was just so frustrating that I had to force myself to take a break from the project and everything several times.
It's kind of like the Crusader at the moment.
Yeah, it's like the Crusader right now. It's like, I need a break. Yeah.
You can do it. We all believe in you.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody asked if you have any tips how to make armor looks symmetrical and even.
It's like, the only thing is make everything at the same time. It's like when you make something which shall look same, like you build 2 armor pieces, 2 pauldrons, for example, make everything twice. at the same time. It's not like you make the first armor piece and then you make the next one. No, you make everything simultaneously. Also, it's like everything is with patterns. When I have patterns for one armor piece, then I make also the patterns for the next one. So they always look the same. And when I have a work step on one piece, I also do it at the same time on the next one. So you have never big breaks because several equivalent same work steps, and sorry, and so I mean you always just repeat your stuff, and so it looks pretty similar.
Also, you can just like slap a ton of details on every part, so you don't notice the differences anymore. Yeah. Because it's not perfect most of the time when she gives me like a finished piece and I look at it. Like, you know, there's like stuff missing everywhere, and she's like, just paint over it, nobody will.
He's like, you make shit. You make star shit. Everything is shit.
Blood and dirt, guys. Blood and dirt. That's the secret.
Yeah.
I want those gummy bears. Bunny bears.
No.
Nom, nom. Okay. You're distracting me, guys.
Fine.
Okay, so you do have a lot of WoW cosplays, as I think everybody have noticed. How do you choose which armor or which design to cosplay, and if you have any tips for people who also want to cosplay from WoW?
Right now I choose only from the sets I still don't have, because I already cosplay that much, so I search for something I still didn't cosplay. I would say if you search for something nice, check out the WoW Model Viewer. And it's a great reference because there you see all the models in the game, like in a 3D program, and you can rotate everything, you can zoom in, you can really choose different sets and put it together on a character you like to cosplay. And I think also, you know, just get some inspiration. Choose from a character you maybe really like, or choose from an armor set you like most, and you know, just get some inspiration from cosplayers from BlizzCon, for example, because when you see these people, then you just want to cosplay instantly. And yeah,
I don't know. I think you should just pick whatever set you like most, because there's so many cool and differently looking sets on the game. So, I don't know, some people like the hunters more. You're like only doing druids.
I don't
like
do
one
only
paladin,
druids.
one warrior.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think World of Warcraft or Blizzard in general is one of those companies that makes it as easy for cosplayers as it can be because of the model viewer. So you can just look at every tiny detail up front, rotate it, look at it from every angle, so you can see perfectly what you have to build.
Yeah, just play the game and you will fall in love into it, and then you want to make it.
And when you do cosplay something, if it's from WoW or from any other thing, do you usually try to stick as much as possible to the main design, or do you like add your own details and add your own personal touch, change up stuff if you feel like that's needed?
It depends on. It's like I'm such a fan of the franchise that it's really important for me that you still recognize it. So, for example, I made the Daedric armor and it looked like completely different because I made a sexy version. But it's still important for me that people recognize it as a Daedric armor. And sometimes I make an armor set, and then I maybe think, maybe I shall change this or that, but I think, nah, it's not original. It's like I'm such a fan of the franchise that it's really important for me that it looks like in the game, or if I just change it, it looks, people recognize it. But I mostly change things when it comes to transportation, which is necessary. So if I have to build something which is too big, I change it in a way that it's smaller so I can transport it easier. Or sometimes I even choose whole costumes, whole characters based on a tiny little detail I can use to break down a costume in my suitcase. So I try to stay as original as possible when I can, but sometimes I also just like to be original, like, you know, creating an own design, like for my Protoss Wizard.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, now somebody have asked, if you have any tips or tricks to make masks and helmets out of Warbler. You did make a helmet, but
it's like I already made a tutorial. A good way to make a helmet is, always to start with the pattern, and for that you can basically wrap your own head in plastic foil and then
just like leave holes for
not
breathing.
necessary, not that necessary. Yeah, okay. And just wrap your head and draw the patterns for your helmet on or whatever. That's basically what I do, or just do it with a wig hat. Just take care that, because the wig hat is a little bit smaller than your own head, so you have to make the patterns a little bit bigger. And
the thing is, you have to wrap your head in like kitchen foil, and then you put painter's tape around it. Then you draw the lines on. And the thing about Warbler is it's flexible, so you can bend it on like round shapes. So you have to cut the pattern you marked like in different sections, so you can glue them together afterwards. So it's a lot of trial and error, and it's different for every type of helm you want to make. But once you do like one helmet, then the other ones are just like way easier.
Helmets are cool.
And helmets are cool.
Okay, God, I hope it answered your question. Yeah, I sure it is. Okay, another question we have is, most of your cosplays are from RPG or other games. Is this the main interest right now for you, or do you like to the design more than other fandoms, and do you even watch or read manga or anime?
It's like, I like Dragon Ball. I really prefer video games because they have more details. For me, they look more interesting because they have this very, I would say, three-dimensional design because they are video games. And since I'm such a fan of all these fantasy, RPG, MMO games, it's easier for me to find something to cosplay. However, the thing is, I don't read that many manga or watch anime. Mainly the reason is because I don't have that much time, and even for watching anime, it's still I don't like reading subtitles because then I can't work on my costumes, and it's like, I don't know.
But we also don't want to watch it in English because it sounds horrible.
Yeah. So I'm just more a fan of this whole Western thing and video games or comics, stuff like that.
Yeah, also, I think it's because you can identify more with the character if you played them yourself instead of just like cosplaying a character from a
I really like
comic.
badass, strong female characters, and they are pretty easy to find in video games.
Oh, that's why you turned me into a badass, strong female character.
Yeah.
Okay, and this will lead us to our next question. How do you choose something to cosplay? Is this just because you like the design, or is it because you really relate to the character, character-wise?
Because I can transport it. It's like, the very first question is like, does it fit into my suitcase? And like I said, I want to make Bumblebee, but I can't because I can transport it. Or I also made a Crusader, which will never ever leave my workshop probably. And I really like strong female characters. I'm also very focused in armor. Yeah, I like armor.
We did not notice you like armor. What? You?
Never.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it doesn't even matter if you like, because some people, they're always saying like you have to play the game, and wow, she doesn't play the game when she's cosplaying a character. I think you can choose a character for whatever reason you want. Like, it's doesn't matter if you just like the design of the character, because we're all like fan arts, we like illustrations, and why not like do a cosplay because you just think the character looks awesome? That's like paying homage to an illustrator.
It happens often that I like a design of a character, but I don't play the game. Then I start making the costume and then starting playing the game, because it's like, I have to do my research. I need to learn how the character acts and, what I have to do to bring him to life. And that's more for me a reason to cosplay something, that often not just because I'm really a fan of the game, but because I like the design much more
it's
than
funny.
the
Like,
research.
most people play the game and then try to cosplay a character from it, and she likes the design of the character and then starts to play the game from the cosplay, which is like flipped around.
Yeah.
That's the problem with people who need to transport stuff.
Yeah, but it's like that, yeah. And transportation, does it fit into my suitcase? Yeah.
Yeah, and you already did a video about that. So if anybody have a question about transportation cosplay, just go to Kamui's YouTube channel and you'll see Benny crush a suitcase and also how to transfer stuff.
Oh.
That was hilarious. I loved your frustrated face. Okay, so just for everybody who is watching right now, this is probably the last 5 to 10 minutes you'll have to post any questions. So if you still want Kamui to answer something or even Benny to answer something, write this down right now, right here in the Hangout comments, and we will try to get to it before we end. Now you do cosplay for a lot of years. What keeps this fun for you? What makes you keep on cosplaying?
It's like, I don't know, it's like I did a lot of drawing in the past, but I gave it up mainly because I don't know, I didn't really get that much back from it. When I cosplay, when I made my tutorials, when I write my books, it's like people motivate me really every day to keep on doing what I do. They say I'm able to inspire them, I was able to help them. I get emails from people, you know, who are 50 years old and thank me that I got them into cosplay. I have parents who buy for their kids my books and want to help them, you know, to make their very first armor, which is really amazing. And I get every day this amazing motivation just to keep on doing what I do, and it's really amazing. Also, it's so nice, you know, to make a living from something you love that much. You always just did for years as a hobby, and now you're able to do it full time. You are able to do it with your husband, with your most beloved, you know, person you know. And it's like it's a really amazing adventure, and I have no idea how long I still will do it, but I can't really imagine a life without cosplay.
That's awesome. Okay. And did you ever wanted to stop cosplaying before this became your income and your full-time job? Did you ever came to a point where you're like, flip tables, I don't want to do this anymore?
It was only when I cosplayed in my very first years before I started playing World of Warcraft.
I think you were at a point once where you had to decide if you want to go to a day job in an office and cosplay in the evening, or if you want to try and do cosplay like forever.
It was actually last year when I finished my studies and had to get basically a full-time job because, you know, the serious life starts and everything. And I got a day job and everything, and I canceled it after 8 days. Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, it was like my boss totally loved me for that. It's like, yeah, thank you.
Goodbye.
Yeah, bye. Yeah. And I mean, it was the success of my books was really a huge surprise for me. And yeah, well, but it kind of worked out somehow, and I'm really thankful for that. So it was at this point I was like, okay, I have to decide if I will do this real life thing or keep on cosplaying. And it's like, so whatever, let's do this thing, try it out, and if I will fail, then I at least tried it, and if not, then it's like I will, it would be cool, but I wanted. It's like, if I wouldn't try it, I would always regret it my whole life. So it's like, luckily it worked out. Yeah.
I'm happy that it did work out. And in a few words, because I'm sure you have like a ton of things to say about that, what do you think about the new World of Warcraft extension? Because somebody... No, okay, so no, we're not going there. It's going to take another hour.
Oh my god, it's like, I think I never played the expansion that much. It's like, no, it's wonderful.
That's enough. No, we're not going there because it's going to take you an hour to finish this.
Yeah, it's like, I really like it.
Okay, she really likes it for the nice person who asked. Changing the topic. Is there something or some cosplay you think you'll never do? Meaning, like, what is a big no for you?
Big no. I wouldn't say no to anything, honestly.
Oh, real fur.
Real fur?
Real fur and bone.
Yeah, no, in costumes in general. What?
You would say no to real fur.
No, I wouldn't say no to any costume. It's like, a cosplay is like a huge adventure, and it's always important, to keep your eyes open for new things, to, yeah, expect new things, discover new things. But there are some things, yeah, like real fur, for example, I would never ever use for my costumes because, like, I don't really like it. It's like I don't have a good feeling about that. Or, there are some things like I would never ever cosplay Hitler or something like that. And, stuff which is not just nice. But I think it's really important in your hobby never to say no to anything, because you have never any idea what you will do next year, and it's really exciting to experiment, to try out new things, and just to have fun and explore every time new stuff.
Oh, that's good. I got stuck for a moment. I'm sorry. If you compare the community if you compare it to the community that is in a current stage now to the community the situation of the community when you either just got to cosplay in the beginning or when you got back to it when you started Armor, how can you compare those two communities? Like, what's changed in your opinion?
I think the use of social media changed really a lot. Like when I started with cosplay, there was really nothing. There were no tutorials, no people who helped each other. Actually, it was like there were also many people who say when you ask them how they made this or that, it was like it's a secret. And it was like people tried to stay special with keeping their techniques for themselves because they were, it was something special what they did, and they wanted to keep it. And now, especially with the use of social media, this whole cosplay community became like a big worldwide thing. It was before that you sit in your tiny little room and with barely any light and crafted some stuff, and now you're on the internet and look at me and I make this and I make that. And I mean, many people, yeah, really, it's like you became like internet superstar with the super nerdy, crazy hobby. You maybe even hide in the past of your parents or your classmates and everything. And I was a huge nerd when I was a child and had barely any friends, and even my friends were like, "Oh my God, what are you doing? Do you still do this cosplay thing?" And now it's like it's super popular, and people discovered that they are able to help each other. You find tutorials for everything, and it's like right now, no matter where you are, no matter where you're from or which gender you have, which religion, which where you live or whatever, you can meet somebody at the end of the world, and you can become, after a 5-minute talk, your very best friend, because you have so much in common, and that's really amazing. And I mean, I have no idea how the community looks like in 5 years, but for me this change is really exciting, and I think we can expect a lot for the future.
That's awesome. I do hope that we're going to see more amazing stuff. Okay, now we have time for 2 more questions, so we're going to make it short. Okay. Do you see yourself in the future cosplaying something from Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit books or movies, since there are some amazing armors in them?
Yeah.
I don't know. She's not too fond of the new Hobbits movie because she doesn't like dwarves.
Nah, I don't know.
You like the elves.
Nah, they are not badass enough. No, sorry.
Okay, so that's a no. And last thing, do you have any tips, any advice, anything that might help somebody who's just getting into this world and is completely lost in this enormous amount of information and social media?
Okay, long answer. It's like I would always say,
no, not long.
Because no matter what you want to do, it's like you just have to Google the character's name in, and what you want to do, like, Sailor Moon tutorial or whatever on Google, and you will find a ton of tutorials, because basically everything you want to make, somebody else already built it or made a tutorial on that or uploaded progress pictures. You are able to learn a lot of stuff from the internet without wasting any time or any money or any materials for anything. Just be passionate and do your homework and learn your stuff before you actually started with experimenting weird stuff and let your room explode or whatever. And just also, no matter how much time you have, like if you have a full-time job or whatever, stop sleeping. Sleeping is for a week. Or if
it's for a week.
If you don't have money, stop eating.
Or stop.
No. Just stop talking. You're ruining the young generation. You're ruining them.
Just wanted to say, it's like, if you really want to make something, you will always find ways to make your stuff, to bring your character to life, and just keep on dreaming and be motivated, be passionate, and just do what you want and believe in yourself and do it.
Yeah, it's way easier making a cool costume when you're a workaholic. If you're okay, like dying at 40, I think. But I don't know, people shouldn't stop experimenting, I think, because people today, there's so many tutorials, and when somebody wants to build something, they kind of rely on the tutorial a little bit too much for my taste, and they're not trying to, like, one-up the tutorial they read, and so they just, like, repeat the same things over and over, and I would, like, wish for newcomers to just try things out, because there's nothing bad about failing.
It's like, I think
every
the
time
most
you make
thing,
a mistake, you get better the next time, and that's how you learn stuff.
I think for me, it's really exciting that many people actually look at my progress pictures and then they made the same characters I did in a similar way, but then they improve my own techniques, which is really amazing, because they are so inspired by my own way and my own work, but they make it better, and that's really cool.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So I really hope it helps. And wait, we have one more question. What is the most fun part of the preparation of a costume for you and for Benny? And do you think that you will ever cosplay something with wings? And I'm talking about big wings, not like Diana.
Cosplay preparation?
Yeah, what's the most fun about making the costume, I guess?
Oh, the night before. It's like when we have to leave at the airport at 5 a.m. and we didn't slept already last 2 days before, and I'm finished with around 5 armor pieces at the same time and give everything to Benny. And Benny's like, we don't manage that. No chance. No, we can't do this. No. And I'm sitting in front of my sewing machine. It was before I had my new one, and start talking with my sewing machine because it sabotaged me the whole night and everything. And it's like, no, I don't want that you make this costume and you want to finish it. No, you want it. It's like, and we both kind of going crazy and everything and start screaming and crying and shouting and everything at the same time. That's really fun. And yeah, this is pretty cool.
I feel you're holding a grudge.
It's not cool.
Yeah, it's like, it's every night, every time, every costume is a big adventure. It's like, will I get it, or will I want it manage in time, or will we survive? One time we slept the last 2 or 3 nights before we didn't sleep, and we were then at the train station to get to our airport, and we were so tired that we had basically to hold each other, because otherwise we would really fall down on the train and just would die on the train station. Yeah.
The moral of the story is that cosplay is very fun, kids.
Yeah, and you could always like try to start early.
Yeah, you totally can, but it would be boring.
Time management. What is this?
Warcraft, and that's not working.
Yeah, I mean, I totally can start with my costumes right now, but no, we'll play World of Warcraft.
and you're talking to us. It's very important. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
wings.
Wings.
I would love to do big wings, but actually transportation is like, again, my big issue. So when I make big wings, actually I really want to make one. I have to find out at first how to make them transportable. So I have to detach them and then put them together again. I never ever saw it from somebody else. So I think I have to experiment by my own, but I really want to try it. I just need a character with big cool wings. So yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the next book.
We will see.
I hope you will end up making wings because wings are pretty damn epic. Anyway, Svetlana and Benny, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I had a pleasure talking to you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you for everyone who was watching. I do hope that this interview was amusing or helpful to you in any way, and you learned a little bit more or just had a fun hour. Next week, we're going to be here, not sure what time yet, but we are going to have the most amazing Lightning cosplay, also a German cosplayers. We're just continuing in this tradition. We're going to post a time on the World Cosplay Summit Israeli community page, and it's also going to be posted on my personal cosplay page. So if you're interested in following, just follow us or subscribe to our YouTube channel, ORGAMAI, M-A-M-A-I, and it will definitely be posted there. And yeah, keep on cosplaying and sleep. Sleeping is important.
It's not.
Thank you for everybody. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.